Alright, hey guys, what's up? The Sports Talk 123, and today we're just going to be talking a little bit about the Indianapolis Colts. Now they've been a very interesting team this year, and a lot of changes going on with them, and I think they're just a good topic to talk about. They're very interesting, and there's a lot going on with them. So, obviously, you guys know 2-14 this year. Very early in the season, or before the season starts, Peyton Manning injures his neck and is having some problems there. Has to have surgery. Maybe he'll be back after a few weeks. Then things get worse. He has to have surgery again. Then they're saying he might be able to play the last few weeks. And then you pretty much know he's done for the year. And then he never ends up playing. Team starts out 0-13 and then ends up 2-14. They win 2 out of their last 3, but good. It is a good thing for them though that their team was so bad, but they still get the #1 pick. Even though they started winning at the end of the year, they still were able to acquire that #1 pick, which their team needs a lot. Now some of the problems with Indianapolis Colts: their defense is very small, very undersized, and you can run the ball on them very easily. So without Peyton Manning, the Colts were never getting off to fast starts, never getting leads on people. So this this made the other teams, once they had the lead, they started to run the ball. And once the team had the lead and they started running the ball, Colts couldn't stop the run, and then the games would just get away from them because they'd start running the ball down the Colts' throat, start scoring, and then the games were over. But with Peyton Manning, Colts would be fast, get out to a fast lead, and they'd be able to take that small, fast defense, get after your quarterback, cover your receivers, and get turnovers that way. But if you don't get leads and you don't score, your offense doesn't score all the time, then that defensive style just doesn't work. So that whole team is built around Peyton Manning. I mean, the defense is built around Peyton Manning, the offense is built around Peyton Manning. So even though their defense wasn't good this year, you can use that Peyton Manning wasn't there as an excuse. I mean, yeah, it doesn't really make sense. I mean, just because Peyton Manning isn't there doesn't mean the defense should perform worse. But in this case, it actually does. Not having Peyton Manning makes their defense a lot worse because their defense is built around Peyton Manning's play on offense. So those were pretty much their problems this year. I mean, it affected their offense because I think they had 3 different quarterbacks this year. And just never had never put up any real numbers or had any success at all. They have a running game that was here and there all season, and Reggie Wayne had a nice year. Dallas Clark had decent years, but their quarterback play was just too inconsistent to win any games, and their defense just could not stop anybody's running game. One of the worst rushing defenses in the league, and it was just a tough year for them. But even though they won some games in the end, they still locked up the #1 pick. Now, talking about the #1 pick, there are a few ways you can go. You can draft Andrew Luck, sit him behind Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning, he is the best quarterback in the game right now. Or, not the best quarterback, the most valuable quarterback in the game. Most important quarterback to his team by far. A few years ago, Tom Brady went down. Patriots with Matt Castle still made the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers, he sits out a week. Matt Flynn puts up huge numbers. Packers still win. Peyton Manning goes down. Colts go from a 10-win team every season to a 2-win football team. And if they had Peyton Manning this year, there's no doubt in my mind they would have won 10 games again, even with how bad their team has played this year. I still believe with Peyton Manning, that is a 10-win team. At least, maybe 11, 12 wins. So he is the most valuable quarterback. But this neck, who knows how this neck's going to work out. He should be fine. He should be back next year at full health. But still, he's getting up there in age. He only has like 3 or 4 years, 5 years max of Peyton Manning type football left in him. So you can draft Andrew Luck, sit him behind Peyton Manning, have Peyton Manning mentor him, and then in 3 or 4 years, get Andrew Luck going. But your team isn't good enough to do that, I don't think. I think you have to trade that #1 pick. So the next scenario would be trade the #1 pick, and they're talking for the #1 pick. You might get as many as 3 #1 picks, maybe 4 #1 picks. You could get 3 #1 picks and a #2 pick, or even 4 #1 picks for that #1 pick. That's how valuable teams are valuing Andrew Luck at. And there was a trade a while ago, a few decades ago, for the #1 pick, and it was something like 3 1s and 2 2s or something, I think. So Colts have to be asking that kind of price because they need as much help as they can get. The more #1 picks they can get, the better their team is going to be in the future. Because aside of Peyton Manning, their team is not that good right now. But Peyton Manning is good enough to make this team good. But once they lose Peyton Manning, they have to have something else. So they need to get some value for this pick. Or there's also the very risky third option of going all in on Andrew Luck, trading away Peyton Manning, and hoping Andrew Luck pans out and is really the quarterback everyone says he is. Trade away Peyton Manning for as much as you can get, which you can still get a lot for Peyton Manning. I don't know if you can get as much as you'd get for this. You'll probably get more. It'd be close. What you could get for Peyton Manning and what you could get for this #1 overall pick. While Peyton Manning is a surefire deal, he's only going to be there for 3 or more years. Andrew Luck's a little bit more of a gamble, but he's going to be there for years to come. So you could trade away Peyton Manning, see how much you can get, improve your team now, maybe even trade Peyton Manning for a few players that can help your team now, and hope Andrew Luck is good. But that is by far the riskiest of the 3 scenarios. Scenario 1 is the safest, but I think the least likely. But in the end, I do think they're going to keep Peyton Manning, trade away this pick before the draft, and see how many #1 picks they can get in the future, and hopefully improve their team that way. Yeah, so, I mean, that's pretty much everything that's been going on with the Colts this year. They're a very interesting team, and I thought I definitely need to talk about them. Also, the news just came up today that the Colts have fired, Jim Irsay has fired team vice chairman Bill Polian and his son Chris Polian. Chris Polian was the general manager. They both got fired today, and also they're saying that Jim Caldwell does have a good chance of returning, but they're still evaluating him. Now, I think Bill Polian and Chris Polian needed to go. I think as a general manager, I don't think he was doing that good of a job. I mean, this team is not that good other than Peyton Manning. They weren't doing a good job going out and trying to get people. I know Peyton Manning's contract is huge, and he did take up a lot of your team's cap, but I still think you need to attempt to go out and get some more people to help your team win. It's just inexcusable how bad this team is without Peyton Manning. And nobody stepped up this year, and this team, and they needed a change. And if you're Jim Caldwell, I honestly don't know how good of a coach Jim Caldwell is. His other years, I don't really think it's fair because he was still kind of getting in the flow of things, but he always has Peyton Manning, and Peyton Manning kind of coaches the team by himself, coaches the offense, runs pretty much the whole offense by himself, and so I don't really know about those years. And then this year, not having Peyton Manning, you take the best player off most teams, those teams probably aren't going to be very good, so I don't really know if you can blame that on the coach. So I think Jim Caldwell definitely needs to stick around. I don't think you can fire him. I don't think it'd be fair to fire him off this one bad year because you're missing your best player. So while I don't know how good of a coach he is, I definitely think he should return. I think it's what the right thing to do would be is to bring him back, and it does look like they're going to bring him back. So that's pretty much all the news of the Colts. Pretty much broke down from the beginning here to the end of the year and what their future looks like. So I think they're a very interesting team, and I thought this was a good topic to talk about, so I decided to make this video. So that's pretty much it for today, guys. Thanks a lot. See ya.